Hello, Marsha. What's
Hello.
I just want to say hello to everybody who's listening into the broadcast. My name is Usha Chidasama. I am a child and adult psychotherapist, and I'm on a mission to empower parents to raise happy children through my online courses and workshops and talks like this. And today I'm interviewing a parent who actually completed one of my courses. Her name is Marsha, and I'm going to let her introduce herself to you. Okay. Hi, Marsha. Tell us a little bit about you and maybe say a little bit about what day-to-day parenting is like for you.
Okay, so my name's Marsha. I work full time. I work in social housing for development department. My day-to-day activities are, I'm a full-time mum. My daughter has a lot of extracurricular activities because she's very active. I've always known that Nia would need extra other than just school because of the type of child that she is. So from the time she was about 3, I put her into ballet. She did tap, she did modern, she's done swimming, she still does swimming. Then she's transferred onto taekwondo. She does that 3 times a week, and she's progressed within 2 years to she's a red tag, so she's almost like a black belt. And she does drama as well, 3 hours a week on a Wednesday. So we're very busy. We're a very busy family. Lots going on, but it's necessary. So you can imagine that during the lockdown period, this has been very challenging because she needs that level of activity throughout the day. And without it, she's not bored. I wouldn't say she's bored. She's got things to do, and she's very she's self-sufficient, put it that way. She's very self-sufficient.
I remember her having lots and lots of energy and really motivated, really happy, and and that was great, know. But what were the struggles that you had, before you discovered me, for example, before we knew each other?
Well, I would say one of the struggles was, obviously, I'm a very positive person, and I kind of know how to manage my emotions.
Yes.
And the thing is with Nia, with my daughter, is that it's weird because she's like me now. I'm quite extroverted, so she's quite extroverted herself, but I was quite introverted as a child. So it's kind of in reverse.
Yes.
So because I know how to manage my emotions, and I'm quite positive and optimistic, and I let things go over my head. Obviously, as a child, it's very different. They haven't adapted and learnt the ways to deal with those things. Yeah. So when they do have things in the playground or have little disagreements with their friends, it blows up and it's all consuming, and it's the end of the world. And it's just, I wanted to find a way that she would be able to manage those emotions for herself and not get so heated or so boiled up or so upset by this particular, any particular incident that takes place. Obviously, it would all blow over by the next day, but just managing that energy and that emotion at that time better. And also to be a little bit, she's very confident and very happy, so that's not really been an issue. But it's just, I find that when, obviously, like you notice, when meeting people for the first time or she's in new groups, she will obviously, teachers always said this as well, that she will let the ones who are louder sort of speak ahead of her, and she'll hold back. She'll hold back rather than put herself forward. She'll wait till they finish, and then she will come forward and make her point or say what she wants to say. And, for me, as I am as an adult now, I'm not like that. If I have a point to make or I have something to say, I'm quite happy to interject. I'm quite happy to make my point or make myself heard. So that's something that I wanted to work with her with.
So thank you for that, because you're saying that when you were a child, you were quite introverted, like you say. So so what were you like as a child? Would you describe yourself as a happy child when you were younger?
Oh, yeah, very, very, very happy, very self-sufficient, very independent, very much how Nia is now, but not as extroverted. I was quite quiet, had lots of friends, but I was probably, most people say I was quite shy. So it took
Yeah.
me a long time to sort of, for me to, become the person that I am today, obviously through working and meeting different people. But I was always quietly confident. I
Okay.
wasn't in a sense where I was scared to do anything. I was, no, very self-assured, like I am now, but in a quiet way.
Yes, yes. So, in terms of how you are, who lives at home with you, and how do you parent Nia? Because
So
that's
it's me and my mum, which is
Mhm.
lovely. So Nia
Yeah,
has got, just like I did when I was a child, I had
yeah,
my grandparents in my family home.
yeah.
So it was a
That's the
mixed
difference.
parenting. You had the influence of your grandparents and,
Yeah,
their generation and their culture and their beliefs and understandings on you. And then I had my mum as well. So Nia's got that benefit as well, which is brilliant. So, like, my mum is basically her second mummy, isn't she? you
uh,
know which is really nice. And I
yes,
think it's so important for children to be brought up around their grandparents if they can do, because it just brings a different element to the parenting as well. And it
yes.
helps me because obviously I'm busy working, so it does help her.
Yeah, but
And
the parenting style that your mum obviously gave you something, because you're a very bubbly, positive. You got your mindset is always on a positive. Not you're always looking at the silver lining, and what do you think it was from your mum that you got that, and how are you passing that on to Nia? What do you
Well, my mum always gave me the freedom to think for myself, and I think that's always been very important. My mum's always tried her best to be, to make sure that I'm independent, and not in a pushy way, but just
think?
by allowing me to get on with things.
Right. So she
And that's exactly
trusted
what I
you.
do with that's exactly what I do with Mia. I allow her to
Yeah.
get on with stuff as long as she doesn't break her neck or do
Yeah.
anything dangerous or set the house on fire.
Yeah.
I prefer her to be free and to, let her creativity flow. And
Yeah.
if she wants to, as a child, if she wants to stick stickers on the TV, if she wants to stick stickers all over the door, if she wants to draw on the wall, although some people be like, no, don't draw on the wall. I
Yeah.
don't care. I don't care. It's not important. What's important for her is
Yeah.
knowing that she's got the freedom to express herself, and also the freedom to also express her opinion
Yes.
without being, slapped down for it. Because at the end of the day, as a child, especially growing up, she's obviously much older now, she's 10, but
Yeah.
when she was younger, she's going to say certain things which people might think, oh, you shouldn't say that, you're a child. And I'm not saying she doesn't swear or anything like that. That's one thing she doesn't. Even if I swear, Nia never swears. She completely ignores me, which is brilliant. So, it's just the fact that you've got to allow children to express themselves, and then what I do is I then explain to her, well, this is what you might say instead, or this is what you might do instead, or what do you think? Just ask her, what does she think? We'll give her
So,
different options.
yeah, because you talked a lot about, giving children the freedom of expression, which I believe in as well. But how do you, because you also talked about swearing. So how do you limit Nia so that she stays on the positive side of expression rather than the negative side? Because there is that as well, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, luckily, a lot of this boils down to personality, and I think you have
Yeah.
to understand your child's personality. Mia, she's a Capricorn, and she's a very moral child. Whenever we have a parents' evening, the teachers will often say that Nia was always found amongst a couple of people, letting them know what they should and shouldn't be doing, and what the right thing and the wrong thing to do is.
Right.
And that's part of her personality. So I know that as much as I've got my teachers, though, because of the type of child that she is, I know that she knows what is right, she knows what
Yeah.
is wrong, and she will always pick to do the right thing. And
Yeah.
we have a everybody's got a sense of beliefs and values that they hold
Yeah.
true for themselves. And
Hmm.
without me, I don't think you have to push those on a child. But I lead by example. If Mia was rude to anybody, or I didn't like the way she behaved, I would speak to her and say, well, have you ever seen mummy speak to her friends like that? Have you ever heard me talk out of turn to somebody? Would I act like that? Because I'm her example. And she would say
Exactly.
no.
And do you know what? That is a really big point that, us parents, we don't even realize it, that we are actually the models. We are the example of what the children should or shouldn't be doing. So the nice thing that you mentioned is that she already knows what the right and wrong thing is. Yeah. And that comes from the beliefs and values that we hold in a family. And so for a child to be happy within the family, you've got to have those positive beliefs and values. And I was just going to ask you, so when you, it was, I think, was it 2 years ago that you came on the course? It was about
Yes.
2 years ago. And what was it within the course that supported you in how you model and what your beliefs are and your values? And, what was it about the work that we did that supported you in, creating that environment so that your child is happy and continues to be happy?
I think it's just the allowing the space. The space is a big thing. So for my type of personality, like I said, I let things go over my head. Things don't really bother me that much.
Yeah,
I take a lot of things with a pinch of salt, but I have to understand that Nia hasn't developed that skill set yet. So
yeah,
it's just giving her the space to feel what she feels in that moment, but
yeah,
then being able to manage it. And one of the tools that you taught us was obviously the breathing exercise, and the bringing it down from here to here in a in
yeah.
in a in a nice, comfortable, safe way. In any situation.
Yes. So that helped you. So that
Yes.
strategy was a helpful one. Um, because it's important to know yourself as the adult how to do something, but then how do you teach it to your child? And so
Yeah.
you're saying that that is something that came up in the course that supported you.
Yes, it was. And
Yeah,
also what I liked was, I have lots of tools for, positivity. I do my affirmations, or I do my mantras, and we have, Nia's always involved in any like little rituals that I do at the full moon or new moon, or, she always gets involved in things, and she's always like with me with my angel cards, and,
yeah,
we play with them. And this is the way that I learned, spirituality growing up, because my mum always had crystals around the house. My mum always had like cards and these things, and we always played with them. They were just toys. So what was nice about the course was that I know that these things are very helpful for me as an adult, and it's just a way of showing her how to use them. So when we did that, we did an exercise where we did the affirmations,
that's
and we
right.
wrote the affirmations down. That was a
Yeah,
really, really lovely thing to do,
yeah,
and also to do the gratitude journal as well,
yeah,
because I write a gratitude journal
yeah.
every evening or every couple of evenings. So it was nice to show Nia that she could also do that, when she
Absolutely.
felt like it. But I'm not going to force her to do it.
No,
Obviously, these things happen when she feels like it, or at the
yeah.
right time. But at least she's seen that these are tools that other people use as well, and she can
Yeah.
use them when she wants to.
Exactly. And I think, like you said, Nia's personality is very extroverted. So the kind of tools that you might use with her would be very different from a child that's got low self-esteem, but the opposite of what Nia
Yes.
has. So, affirmations are good in that way. I mean, for people who don't know what they are, affirmations are basically positive statements that we use, but they are positive statements which are kind of threaded into the work that we did. So we started off with what are the negative messages that our children get, and where do they come from? And, because they might come from home. But when I say home, I don't mean that you've said it. I mean that sometimes it's implied, or sometimes they watch TV, and even through TV, they could get messages which then affects their beliefs and values. So sometimes, parents turn around and say that, no, but we're a positive family, we're all happy, and there's nothing going wrong here. But actually, there's levels of things that are happening that children are noticing, children are picking up, that parents sometimes have forgotten because they're not children anymore, and they've forgotten. So what would you say to parents who think that actually I don't need a course like this, I don't need anything, because my children are all well behaved, they're happy, they're getting on in school, and they are. We're not saying they're not. They get the academic subjects, they get the good grades, and they're friendly. They've got everything, outgoingly out, they've got everything going for them. But then what is it, do you think, Marsha, about the course that would still support that child or that family?
I just think, I mean, for me, the well-being of my child has always been the most important,
Yeah,
above any academic qualification, against anything. The well-being is the most important thing. And I just think that there isn't enough of this type of teaching within the school. And, if you, it just helps support them in their growth, because as children go for the first 7 years are the most important part of a child's life. And, we can do, even if we do as much as we can, as soon as they come out of that 7 years and they start puberty and they've got all these different influences, you
yeah,
just don't know what impact that's going to have. And we can't protect them from everything. We
yeah,
can't protect them, but all we can do is give them the right tools to be able to manage their emotions and manage the outside world and the environment, the different messages they get in a better way. So I think something like this, and your course was, absolutely amazing. And as much as, I might feel like I'm a good mother and I'm doing all the right things, or, sometimes I don't. I mean, I just wing it at the end of the day. I'm not reading a book or anything
yeah,
on how to be a parent. I just go with how I feel, and I just do it based on what my child's personality is like. But the course was so beneficial even for me, because it gave me tools that I could use going forward to help support her. And that's what it's about, because she is 10 now. She is going to start going through puberty. She obviously is going to start getting different influences from other areas. She's going to go to secondary school, but I need to make sure that her mindset is up here,
yeah,
so that she can deal with anything, and her confidence that she's always had isn't knocked down. I want her to still be that confident little girl into a confident teenager and a confident adult.
Yes. And so I think what you're mentioning there in so beautifully about, when you're talking about the well-being, is managing emotions. And I think you're right that that's not so outwardly taught in a school. All right. It's like if something happens to children, a fight or a disagreement or something happens, they don't always have the skills to know how to manage it. So what children tend to do, and this is from my experience, because as a school counselor, I see it all the time. So if there has been a disagreement and they don't know what to do and they can't find an adult to help them, what they end up doing is either having a fight or not talking to each other and just moving on. So what happens to those emotions? They get suppressed. And then even though the child might be happy in the primary years, under 11, by the time they get to teenagers, when their brain is still growing and the pathways are growing more, and they have to get rid of or prune the things that are not working. What happens then is they haven't got the skills.
Yeah.
And so learning this from a young age, like you say, is that they have the emotional literacy, emotional vocabulary, emotional understanding of, okay, this is what this situation is making me feel, and so I can do something about it. And in the course, we did go through strategies of how you can problem solve, how you can switch things around, how you can flip switch things around. And when kids under 7 have learned something, that actually stays with them for the whole lifetime. So so I reckon, I agree with you that families who feel like they are very positive and their children are happy anyway and their grades are high and all of that, still need to do this work, because, like, look, we're in lockdown. This is like an act of God. We don't know. Who knew, right? And now we have got a forced family time, haven't we? And, how are we dealing with it? So how are you dealing with it? How's things with you in lockdown?
Well, as I said, because Nia is so active, she needs extra stimulant. She needs the activities, and she's not doing her time. Obviously, she's got the classes, she's got homework pack, she's got all of that, but she needs to be outside. She needs physical activity, a lot of it, in order to feel tired. So actually, I'm dealing with a child that is not tired at all. 3 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes I'm working because I'm working from home. So sometimes I'm like, Nia, I'm going to bed, and she's just up, which, you know, at the end of the day, the way I see it is this is a forced situation, and, you know, nobody planned for this. We didn't know it was coming. So you just have to just flow and ease with it. You can't, I'm not going to force anything. Some days she does some work, some days she doesn't. She does her taekwondo online via Zoom. You know, remember, I'm still working as well. So I do a little bit of work, and then I've got to stop to make lunch, and I do a little bit of work, and I stop to prepare dinner. So there's only so much you can do, and you just have to give yourself grace to just go through it. Otherwise, you drive yourself mad.
Absolutely. And that's the important thing to remember as well, is giving yourself the permission to say, okay, I'm not a teacher, I'm a mom, I've still got my job to do, I've still got this to do. But the nice thing is that she's even though you might have gone to bed, it's that she's still motivated to keep herself busy and not you know. So what I mean is that she's independent. And, you know, you've got trust within her to let her get on with it.
Always have done. She's fantastic. I can't fault her on that. She's very independent, and you know, all I can do is just encourage that more, really, you know. And I just ask her opinion. If there's anything she's stuck with, come and ask me, you know. But I just ask her, well, what would you do? What do you think? It's not going to kill her. As long as it's not going to kill her, it's not going to have any detrimental effect. Let her make her own decisions.
Absolutely. And you're there.
I'll step in when I need to.
Exactly. Brilliant. Thank you. Would you recommend the course to parents, and why?
100%. Yeah, I would definitely, and I would definitely recommend you get the book as well. You know, it's so important. There's so many tips and tools, and it's not like, oh God, it's like strategy based stuff and it's like deep psychology. It's not. The stuff that's in this book and that Usha goes through on the course is actually really nice little games and tools that you can use, and you'll be surprised at how simple they are. It's definitely worthwhile, and you'll be surprised what you learn from it. Definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Online. Thank you. So that was Marsha. She actually did a course that was face to face, but the online course actually has information about how you can, you know, make your environment really calm. Thank you so much to Marsha, who has been amazing at helping out her daughter, who's actually really independent, positive, lovely girl. And it just goes to show that even though you have a family with a happy child and everything's going well, you still can benefit from this course. Okay, thank you very much. And I'm Usha Chudasama, child and adult psychotherapist, and I'm on a mission to empower and enable parents to raise happy children. Bye for now.